What if I told you the Indiana Fever aren't just hyping up Caitlin Clark, they're building a championship machine. Sue Bird sees it, and she's not staying quiet. She's laying out the blueprint for how Indiana's about to shock the WNBA. Now, you might be thinking, but they were just first-round exits. Exactly, and that's what makes this story so crazy. We're about to show you how the Fever flipped the script and why Bird says they're now the team to beat. So, Sue Bird is one of the greatest point guards of all time in the wnba, and she's someone who obviously is a part owner in the Seattle Storm. So hyping up another team is a bit of a conflict of interest, if we're being honest. Not like something crazy, but a little bit of a conflict of interest. We can be honest here. Alright, let's talk about Sue Bird for a second. You might be thinking, oh great, another retired player throwing out hot takes. But hold up, this isn't just any former player. This is Sue freaking Bird we're talking about. 4 WNBA championships, 5 Olympic gold medals, and a basketball IQ that's basically off the charts. When Sue speaks, it's not for clicks or views, it's because she sees something everyone else is missing. Now you're probably wondering, why is Sue Bird even talking about the Indiana Fever? Aren't they like the team everyone forgets about? Well, here's where it gets really interesting. Bird didn't just say, oh yeah, the Fever might be good. She straight up called them contenders. Can you believe it? Sue Bird, the walking, talking basketball encyclopedia, is putting Indiana in the same conversation as the Aces and the Liberty. But what does Bird see that we don't? Well, let me tell you, she's not just looking at Caitlin Clark. Bird's breaking down the entire roster, and she's seeing something brewing in Indiana that's got her basketball senses tingling. Take Natasha Howard, for example. Bird called her a glue player who's always in the right place at the right time. You might not see her name in the headlines, but Bird knows Howard's the kind of player who holds a team together. And then there's Sophie Cunningham. Bird's pumped about this addition, calling her a 3-and-D type player with playoff experience. That's the kind of toughness and edge that can take a team to the next level. But the real game changer, DeWanna Bonner. When Indiana signed her, Bird said that's when you knew they were serious. In her words, now you're like, oh, they're a contender. That's not just adding talent, that's adding a proven winner who can show the young guns how it's done. Here's the thing though, Bird's not just impressed by the names on the roster, she's talking about belief and momentum. She said, the scariest thing in sports isn't just talent, it's talent mixed with belief. And from what she's seeing, the Fever aren't just hoping to be great, they're putting in the work to make it happen. You might be thinking, okay, but is this just a bunch of random signings? No. Bird sees a plan here. This isn't about stacking names. It's about building a machine around Caitlin Clark that can compete for championships. Yeah, that's the big thing with Sophie Cunningham is she is there to be basically the enforcer. She played a lot of 5 at Phoenix. She literally played 1 through 5. She guarded 1 through 5 at Phoenix. There is maybe a not more versatile glue player in the WNBA than Sophie Cunningham. Alright, let's rewind for a second. Remember when the Indiana Fever were just that team that got bounced in the first round of the playoffs? Well, guess what? They didn't just sit around feeling sorry for themselves. They got to work. And now, they're not just better. They're a whole new beast. The Fever got Caitlin Clark in the 2024 draft. But that's not even half the story. They didn't stop after 1 season. They have now built a war machine around her. Let's break down the moves they made, because this is where it gets really interesting. Literally, if Natasha Howard just acts like a freaking sprinter with mediocre stamina, she's gonna become a fan favorite. Straight up, that is a fact. First up, Natasha Howard. She's not the player you'll see dominating SportsCenter, but she's the kind of player that makes coaches lose sleep. Howard is what we call a glue player. She does all those little things that don't show up in the box score but win you games. She's always in the right spot, always making the smart play. That's the kind of player that turns good teams into great ones. But the Fever didn't stop there. They went out and got Sophie Cunningham. Now, if you've ever watched Cunningham play, you know she's not here to make friends. She's a tough-as-nails 3-and-D player with playoff experience. That means she can knock down threes, lock up the other team's best player, and she won't back down when the game gets physical. Can you believe it? The Fever went from pushovers to having one of the grittiest players in the league. They obviously through trade added Sophie Cunningham, a player that, I would say a 3-and-D type player, who has, been to the finals, so has that playoff experience. She's also just tough. She's mentally tough, she's physically tough, she brings an edge to them. Now here's where it gets really juicy. They added wnba. We're talking about a veteran who can score, defend, and lead. Bonner isn't just a good player, she's a game changer. Her addition sent a message to the entire league. The Fever aren't here to participate, they're here to dominate. Now look at what they've built. The Fever went from afterthought to having one of the most balanced rosters in the league. They've got players who can beat you in so many ways. And at the center of it all, Caitlin Clark, who can score and pass like nobody's business. It's like they built the perfect machine and then dropped in the most explosive engine they could find. Alright, let's talk about the mastermind behind the scenes who's got everyone buzzing. You've heard about the players, but there's one person we haven't mentioned yet, and she might just be the most important piece of all. I'm talking about Stephanie White, the head coach of the Indiana Fever. You know, you've got incredibly talented players right here. And Caitlin and Aaliyah and Lexi, a team that was incredibly fun to watch, very tough to game plan against. So I'm glad I'm going to get to work with you guys, work with you ladies instead of having to think about how to stop you. Now, you might be thinking, what makes her so special? Well, let me tell you, White isn't just some random hire. She's the perfect fit for this team, and here's why. White's been here before. She knows how to handle star players and sky-high expectations. But that's not all. She's got a proven track record of success, having coached the Connecticut Sun before taking the reins in Indiana. But here's where it gets really interesting. White has already coached wnba before. Can you imagine the chemistry they already have, the shorthand they've developed? It's like they're speaking a language the rest of the league can't understand. This connection is going to be huge for the Fever's success. So it's really going to be the team that finds their chemistry. This season is short. I mean, they're adding games, but it's still pretty short season. But yeah, still short. And it's going to be the team that finds chemistry. So having Stephanie White there, having already coached DB, really does help. Now you're probably wondering, how does this affect Caitlin Clark? Well, let me break it down for you. White knows exactly how to unleash Clark's potential while also making sure the rest of the team shines. She's not just building a team. She's crafting a basketball symphony where every player has their moment to shine. I don't think it's hard to find chemistry. When it comes to something like the Fever, because literally with Caitlin Clark system, you just have to run hard. Run hard, catch the ball, score lips. That's all you have to do. Be in shape. Like, you can do everything in every sort of basketball workout, but go ahead to the freaking track. Go ahead to the track and just start rooting 30-meter sprints. White's coaching style is all about leadership and getting the best out of her players. She's got a knack for developing young talent, which is perfect for a team like the Fever. And get this, her offensive and defensive schemes are designed to maximize Clark's abilities. It's like she's creating the perfect playground for Clark to dominate. But don't think for a second that White is just focused on one player. She knows how to manage talent and expectations effectively. It's like she's got a secret formula for turning potential into championships. Future is so bright. And our ultimate goal is to hang another banner in the field house. And our ultimate goal is to come back in here after we win that championship and celebrate again like we did in 2012. So I just want to thank everybody for coming. Really excited, really looking forward to this, and can't wait to get started. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room, Caitlin Clark. Now, you might be thinking, oh great, another hype piece about Clark. But trust me, this is different. We're not just talking about her insane scoring ability or those logo threes that make jaws drop. No, Clark brings something else to the table that's changing everything. And funnily enough, like, Natasha Howard was an all-star. I think she was an all-WNBA player and defensive player of the year, playing with Sue Bird as a point guard. So she had her most success playing beside Sue Bird. And no offense to Sue Bird, Caitlin Clark prime for prime might already be better than Sue Bird. When Clark steps on the court, it's like flipping a switch. The energy shifts, the momentum builds, and suddenly, everyone's playing at a whole new level. You know why? It's her confidence. Sue Bird, the legend herself, said it best. When Clark steps on the court, her confidence is infectious. Her teammates feel it, the fans feed off it, and the opponents feel the pressure. Can you imagine what that does to a team? But here's where it gets really interesting. It's not just about what Clark does, it's about how she makes everyone around her better. Think about it. You've got Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull cutting to the basket with ease because defenders are so focused on Clark. It's like she's got her own gravitational pull, creating space for her teammates to shine. Now, you might be wondering, is Clark really ready for the WNBA? Well, let me tell you something. This isn't just some college kid stepping into the big leagues. Clark has been thriving under pressure, facing packed arenas, and delivering when it matters most. She's not just a scorer. She's a playmaker who can blow past defenders or pick them apart with her elite court vision and passing. Sprint 94 feet, 10 seconds off. Sprint 94 feet, 10 seconds off. Do that 5 times. I do 5 sets of 5. That is more beneficial for playing with Caitlin Clark than any of these in-season work attitude trainers are going to be. You need to run, you need to shoot, and you need to play defense. It's all you have to do to play with Caitlin Clark. But wait, there's more. Sue Bird sees something in Clark that reminds her of herself. That same fire, that same hunger to win at all costs. It's not just about talent, it's about that winning mentality. And when a 4-time WNBA champ says that about you, you know it's the real deal. Interesting to see Sue Bird calling Indiana one of the contenders, and basically the way she describes it, by getting chemistry, that teams have chances. Every team has a chance, and it'll be interesting. I still think that the Lynx and Liberty are the 2 best teams, but I have Indiana firmly in 3rd right now, depending on what Phoenix do with the rest of their team. Here's the thing that's got everyone buzzing. Clark isn't just joining the Fever, she's transforming them. We're talking about a team that's gone from underdogs to legitimate powerhouses overnight. And it's not just hype. Bird herself is saying Clark is redefining the expectations surrounding her. Can you imagine trying to guard this Fever team now? You've got Clark pulling defenders out to the logo, creating space for her teammates to work their magic. It's a nightmare for opposing teams, but a dream for Indiana fans. There's clearly, there's something about the way she plays the game, her passing, her shooting, that people really identify with. And our backcourt, I think, is probably going to be one of the best in the league. Between her and Karen Kelsey, it's a dynamic duo right there. You know what's really wild? The Indiana Fever aren't just building a team. They're creating a legacy that's got the whole league shook. And it's not just about Caitlin Clark anymore. Sue Bird, the legend herself, is calling it like she sees it. The Fever are in the championship conversation now, right up there with powerhouses like the New York Liberty and Las Vegas Aces. Can you believe it? Here's where it gets really interesting. The Fever didn't just luck into this. They've been making smart moves, bringing in players like Natasha Howard, Sophie Cunningham, and Dawana Bonner. These aren't just random names. They're the pieces that turn a good team into a great one. And now experts are predicting the Fever's win total is gonna skyrocket this season. So the next time someone tries to tell you the Fever are just hype, you'll know better. This isn't just a team, it's a full-on basketball revolution. And the rest of the league, they're not just nervous, they're terrified.